everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Magical Jill, and today we're going to be talking about the release of the 3-pack of movies from the 90s Sailor Moon continuity.
The Sailor Moon 3-film collection, 1993 through 1995.
Wow!
I was born there right in the middle in 94.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, so I was 0 years old when they were releasing these.
I wasn't even a thought. Well, anyway, we're going to be talking about the importance of this box set and what it means to people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to say, a box set, who cares? These movies already existed, but anime is moving actually more and more away from being able to own your discs, and not even just the disc, just being able to own the anime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that it's moving more and more towards a streaming future.
Mm-hmm.
You can even see that with the newest Sailor Moon movies like Eternal and Cosmos in America, Netflix only. So this is actually an opportunity on a budget to own these films, and I think it's important.
Yeah, I think it's extremely important because owning physical media is a very special thing to me in particular. You know, I really enjoy being able to own and watch these movies, these shows, whenever I want to. Just pop them into like my Xbox or something and just watch them instead of having to pay for a streaming service all the time.
And having to rely on the fact that no one edits it, nobody crops something out, you know. They don't Disney Plus it like The Simpsons.
Yeah, pretty
Basically,
much.
you have control over enjoying the media. So we're going to take a look at that today. But we do have a question of the day for you.
So the question of the day is, do you like collecting anime on physical discs like I do? Because I think it is very fun and enjoyable, and I love being able to look at my whole collection on my shelves. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I really like it too. It's just unfortunate anime's gotten so expensive. Like, I was looking at getting Kill la Kill, for example, and it's something like $150 to $200 on Blu-ray. So I think a lot of things have become expensive, and that's one of the things that's great about this set, is that essentially you can own all of this on a budget. I actually didn't know that this had come out yet. I knew it was coming out, but then I saw Brooke, who goes by Ochiba Wolf on YouTube, friend of the channel. Also, she's really cute, very sweet. She's just a very nice person who...
I wish she would be on our channel.
Yeah, I found out actually that she likes our channel too, so that's kind of cool. I think I was checking out her Sailor Moon stuff before we even made any videos. But she actually posted on Twitter about it, talking about it coming out, and quote tweeted a thread on it we're going to talk about later in the video, which kind of breaks down some of the specifics on it. But kind of a shout out to her, because I actually wouldn't have remembered it came out at all. I forgot it was coming out.
Aw, well, you're not up to your Sailor Moon news.
I know, right? I lost my silver crystal.
So, something that's very exciting is this box set is a great way to own all 3 of these movies, because you do get all 3 of the movies when you buy it, and it started out at $30, and then right now it's on sale on Amazon for $22, which if you want to buy the original releases of the movies where you buy them separately, they are each about $20 to $30, and then sometimes they're on sale for $15. So if you bought all of them together, it would be about $50 to $60 to own the 3 movies. And I think it's great for people on a budget if they want to be able to own all 3 movies without having to buy them separately and just get them for like $22 to $30 and be done with it.
Also, just a super quick aside from me from the future, boo, I'm like a ghost. We actually made an Amazon storefront where essentially it's an affiliate link. If you click our storefront or you click the link in the description below and you do end up buying any of the Sailor Moon movies or any of the stuff over there, it does actually help out our channels. Just wanted to throw that out there, so it's like, I mean, transparent, but it is there if you are interested. I think it's not only great for that, you know, basically paying $22 plus tax, at least in America, versus around $60 or more. But also, it's good because it shows interest in these movies.
Yeah.
You know, when we talk about things like wanting Eternal and Cosmos on a physical, you know what they look at for money? They look at Netflix was willing to pay maybe millions of dollars or however much to get this license to stream it. And then they look at declining physical sales of media and they say, well, that's more than we would have made off of that. That contract is better, so we'll do that. If these movies were still selling like hotcakes, if people were still buying them, I feel like we would be seeing less exclusive deals like that cut you out of ownership of the media that you want to enjoy.
That's not great for media preservation itself, because at any point they could just delist the Sailor Moon movies off of Netflix, and then there could be no way to watch them anymore, and they'd just be gone.
Right, except for anime piracy sites, you'd be kind of like just SOL.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have access. And that's something we've seen when people say, oh, that doesn't happen. It's happened to countless video games where they've been recalled and delisted, or just they've lost the license to them, especially superhero games.
It's happened to plenty of movies and TV shows as well.
Oh, yeah.
Think about all the Netflix original series that people actually really enjoyed. They only got one season, and then they got delisted 3 years later because they never made another season.
Or they would lose the license to something, or they'd cut jokes out of The Simpsons on things like Disney Plus because it was offensive. So they wanted to change it because it was on their streaming platform. You have control over avoiding all of that when you buy these movies. So this is just a cheaper way to have control over a retro set of movies. And I just want to add in here, they don't really make movies this same way anymore. You know, like the very hand-drawn style where it's like not very automated, not very digitized. It's very much pen on paper looking.
And very intentional in every scene.
It's very classic anime. And that's not to say it's better. I prefer it. There's a lot of great anime now. But like, you know, being able to own a piece of that anime history, I think is a good thing.
I completely agree, and it's very fun, in my opinion, to watch these movies over and over again. My first introduction to Sailor Moon was these movies when I was a little kid. I owned them on VHS.
Yeah, the Deke dub. You had the ones named like Hearts in Ice and stuff.
I did. I thought it was pretty
and
fun.
And I actually found you that VHS of that. Remember, we were at a store and I found that.
And now I have it on my shelf as a decoration.
Yeah.
But one big problem with this box set is they acted like the movies would be in the original 4:3 aspect ratio if you wanted it to be. Like, they kind of acted like you could turn that on and off to make it either 16:9 or 4:3. And they even had that written on the box, on some of the box sets that you could buy from, like, Amazon. So it's not actually in that 4:3 aspect ratio. It is in 16:9, and you can't change it from 16:9. So if you wanted to watch it the way it was originally made in 4:3, you can't with this box set.
Well, and I also saw an example too. I believe it was Brooke talking to somebody on Twitter. I'm gonna I'll post a picture if I can find it. But basically, someone had talked to the Viz Media outreach, like over email, like the support, and asked about it. And it seemed like even they were confused because they basically made a comment like you could switch it between the two.
Yeah, they thought you could toggle the aspect ratios.
You can't. So one thing I saw was that they actually issued new slipcovers for multiple stores for this, but they didn't for Amazon.
Yeah, so they did that for Groove and Crunchyroll.
Yeah, so like if you buy it on Amazon, you're technically probably going to get one that falsely advertises what it is.
Hey, so maybe it'll be worth money in 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big mess up though, and I didn't even know this, but people were saying that these films were originally in 4:3. That they were changed later on when they were HD-ified. So actually them being in 4:3 was a big deal to some people. And you might think it's not like, oh, well, who wants those black bars on the side? But when they do this HD-ification, whatever you want to call it, where they make it widescreen, if it wasn't originally that, you lose a little bit of the top and bottom of the image.
Yeah, they have to like zoom it in on the screen.
That's why it was such a big deal when Dragon Ball was releasing all these different versions, and some of them were like, now uncropped with black bars on the side. So I think to a lot of people, they think, why is that a big deal? But it's that same thing, like the history of the movie and the animation. The same way we don't want movies to be edited.
We want them to be preserved the way they should be.
Or have the option.
Yeah, have the option to be able to.
If you want to buy Dragon Ball Z and you want to buy the version where it's cropped on Blu-ray, you can do that. You know, if you want to buy the version where it's not cropped, you can do that.
Well, it can be really nostalgic too if you grew up watching these on TV and you had one of those box TVs in the 90s. We all did.
Yeah.
You know, and that was basically the best TV they had available back then.
Well, and so this is the thing, is like that's a pretty big screw up where I feel like if they just hadn't written that, it would have been whatever. This is just a budget collection. They're not redoing a bunch of stuff. I get it. It's just re-releasing it to give people a deal. You know, we've seen that over and over with anime where there will be a cheaper edition. And I feel like that mess up is something that's going to piss a lot of people off. Like there's going to be a lot of people who do care about the history of this who are not looking like, oh boy, like what's the news on Twitter about this movie, because they're not connected in that way. So they're going to get it with that thing on the box and be disappointed.
Another thing that really solidifies this as a budget version and not really a great version if you want to be like a serious collector about Sailor Moon media is the fact that it is in 1080p, but it's a very compressed 1080p.
Yeah.
So it's not as clear as the original releases of these movies that like they would be if you got like the original Blu-rays. Because for some reason they like compressed the 1080p to make it a little bit more blurry.
Well, and there's actually a very good thread from Fred Francis on Twitter, X now, I guess, which we will show a little bit of in this video, so shout out to them, where essentially they talked about this and did show some of that compression. Like, they even show the file sizes. The smaller your file size, the more you're compressed.
Yeah.
So they kind of show how some of that worked, but where it really affected it was the featurettes. There were some featurettes with the original where it would be, what was it, like Ami's First Love, I think, was one of them.
I think so, yeah.
Things like that are super compressed. Like, they're more blurry than they were noticeably.
Compared to the original release.
Yes, compared to if you bought these individually. But then you have to ask yourself, are you going to notice that?
There's also bonus features that are missing from this release that were on the other releases.
And it feels like we're just talking about all the negatives, because it sounds like, oh, well, why would you buy this? It's got more compression, it's missing some of the bonuses, things like that. Like, why would I bother? Well, to be honest, there's some people where it is going to make a difference if they have to spend $60 or $20 on one film.
It's a great, cheap way to have physical media, and it is a great distribution of these movies so that they don't just get lost to time. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of things, even with anime, that just get lost to time that you can't find anymore. Like, for example, there's a Dragon Ball New Year's episode that's just gone from time entirely, and I was gonna make a video about that at some point.
Yeah.
But I wasn't able to do it around New Year's because I'm a silly bit pants.
A silly bit pants?
I'm a silly bit pants.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for me is preservation, being able to go back to movies, being able to enjoy them, and having that history, and being able to talk about it and share it with people. You know, for me, it's not even as much me having access to it, it's us having access to it. You know, it's like, because it's something you and I enjoy together. I don't want all of my hobbies to be in the hands of megacorps, you know? Where it's like, I know that you have to let them release the movie. It's not like, you know, you could just magically materialize it. But when they release the movie, they can't just take it away.
No, they can't break into your house and steal your discs.
Right, and that to me is where it really is important. Like, I've been doing some research on anime from like the 80s and 90s. There's a bunch of them that are not available for streaming, and they're only on DVD, and sometimes those DVD sets start going for hundreds of dollars.
Yep, I've seen it at half-price books a ton. Same thing with certain manga series.
Oh, by the way, that's like a pawn shop in our area in case, like a secondhand store.
That's true,
Because I know a lot of places
like
don't
thrift
have that.
Place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen that with different manga series too, like manga that doesn't get reprinted or never gets a DVD release as like an anime. You know, then they become hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and you see them in a locked case in a thrift shop for over hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, seriously, Rave Master from the same creator that made Fairy Tail is one of them. Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is one I'd love to make some videos about eventually. Jill thinks no one will watch them because it's so niche, but I would love to.
You'll have to let us know in the comments if you even know what some of these are.
Yeah, those are like manga I grew up with, right? And they didn't really get many reprints at all. Tsubasa got a few omnibuses, and that's about it. And it's like once that stuff goes out of print, the prices skyrocket. So unless you want to go and pirate it, which to be honest, I totally understand when these things get to be hundreds of dollars. It's like your access to manga and anime and media in general, it lies in three options. There is the official releases, as in these discs. There is, well, and I'll include the digital releases that you can buy too, as long as the service for them doesn't shut down where you lose access to it, which can happen. The piracy, which obviously, you know, is not legal, but I understand completely. And then you have the option of streaming.
Yes.
And so it's like two of those you can lose any time. Piracy, websites can be hit and taken down immediately, and it happens all the time. The actual streaming, they can be edited, delisted, lose the license, etc. The only one you have control over, barring a house fire, is the disc.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought this was so important. Because when we first talked about it, it was like, we own these movies, who cares? But I think it's important for people who love Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I think it's very important. And, you know, it's also very important for things like video games, too, because a lot of the Sailor Moon video games that existed either never got translated and put into America and things like that, and now they're very hard to find if there even was a physical release of them. You know, so a lot of these video games just got lost to time, and I don't want to see more Sailor Moon things get lost to time.
Even toys. Like, I see this all the time with anime marketing and toys. I've been looking into old stuff from the original Full Metal Alchemist. So many of the toys are like hundreds of dollars or in landfills. They're just gone. They broke, they got thrown out. With media and this art, I think it's important that doesn't happen. And I think that these movies are timeless.
So if you liked this video, I hope that you check out some of my other Sailor Moon videos, because I do love talking about Sailor Moon. I love talking about Dragon Ball. I'm making some Full Metal Alchemist videos. I'm going to be talking about more animes in the future, and I'd love for you to tell me down below what animes you'd like me to cover, because I do have like a little bit of a list of things that I want to watch to be able to talk about them on my channel.
I want you to talk about Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles, and also I would like you to talk about Rave Master.
Okay, you and all 2 people who watch those.
Cool.
And then I also wanted to mention, if you like supporting our channels a lot, I do have an awesome shop called CosmoBunny.shop, and I'd love if my husband would explain what I create on there.
Yeah, so we make coasters, keychains, trays, and more out of recycled paper, and you might be thinking, recycled paper, why would I want that? Well, this is another art preservation. This is from comic books, manga, magazines, and more. Things that are damaged, things that are being thrown out, can't be sold. Sometimes they're even internal pamphlets, like for an anime release, that have been damaged.
Yeah, we keep them out of landfills by making new things out of them.
And then we actually recycle all of the scraps of them instead of just throwing them in the trash.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good way to not only preserve some art, transformatively create something new out of it, but also to keep things out of landfills and preserve some of that history, which is genuinely very important to us. It's not something we just preach about, like, it is actually extremely important to us.
I do have a discount code for 10% off, which is in all caps Sailor, and then we do have a Fortnite code, so if you like buying anything on Fortnite, I've heard some rumbles in the vines that perhaps Sailor Moon might be able to come to Fortnite at some point.
You have?
I have. I've heard some rumbles in the vines about it.
Okay.
And if you want to use our Fortnite
I think that was
code,
just your tummy.
our code is all caps DJAY123, and you don't get a discount on Fortnite, but it does help us a lot to be able to get you guys to use that, because then Epic will give us some money for like the commission, and it'll really help keep the lights on around here, because no, spoiler alert, we're poor.
Yeah, so the budget releases are for people like us too.
Yeah, they are actually.
So we hope you have a fantastic day.
And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!
Bye.